I wrote out a giant whiteboard on cellular respiration. It is giant, so let's dive into it. So cellular respiration, we're using oxygen and glucose. Oxygen we breathe, glucose we get from eating, and we're gonna create ATP, which is the energy currency of the cell. So without breathing and without eating, your cells won't be able to do what they need to do to keep you alive. And so the whole process of cellular respiration is gonna break into 4 main steps. Glycolysis, breakdown of pyruvate, the citric acid cycle, the electron transport chain / oxidative phosphorylation. And so this is our summary equation. This is before we do anything. We need these things in order to start it off. And so sometimes people actually also will write in the 2 ATP but we'll get to that in a second. And then we get 6 CO2, 6 H2O, and then 34 to 38 ATP net. And so if this is gonna be our electron donor, is it oxidized or reduced to become carbon dioxide? If this is our electron acceptor, is it oxidized or reduced to form water? And so I wrote that down. Take a second and write out oil rig because it's really important for this whole process. So, okay, step 1, glycolysis. The process of turning glucose into 2-pyruvate through 10 chemical reactions. And it's important that you know that glucose is being oxidized. So if you didn't pause, that's the answer. Glucose is being oxidized in order to form CO2. So we're gonna be seeing that throughout the whole process. Glucose is repeatedly going to be oxidized through these first 3 steps until we have no more carbon molecules to work with. Because we have these 6 carbon molecules to work with. Once they're all CO2, then glucose is completely oxidized. So, okay, it breaks down into 3 steps. Number 1, the energy investment phase. We're going to put 2 ATP into the equation to start it off. So energy investment, we're going to invest that 2 ATP. We're going to get fructose, which is still 6C, 6 carbons. You can see C6 is 6 carbons. And then the cleavage phase is when we cut it. We're going to be breaking fructose into 1 G3P, 1 G3P, and then each of them are going to have 3 carbons. And then the energy liberation is when we liberate that energy. Think Statue of Liberty, we're freeing that energy. So we have 2 ATP coming out of each G3P, and then 1 NADH coming out of each G3P, and then we get 1 pyruvate from each G3P. So in total, we started with 1 glucose molecule, 2 ATP, 4 ADP, and 2 NAD+. So these last 2 might seem kind of random and like they came out of nowhere, but I'll explain in a second. And so then we got 2 pyruvate, 4 ATP, 2 NADH, like we talked about right here, and then 2 ADP. And so it's important that you remember we put 2 ATP in the beginning, and in order to use that energy, we had to turn it into ADP. So that ATP right there is now ADP right here. And so same concept. We have 4 ATP right here. We have 2 NADH right here. It came from this. It came from these 4 ADP and this 2 NAD+. And so then total for ATP gain, we put 2 in, so we subtracted 2 from the total energy that we gained, and we got 2 ATP net. Okay, step 2 is breakdown of pyruvate. We have this pyruvate is being oxidized again, and so it's going to be oxidized. Pause. It's going to be oxidized into CO2. And so we have this pyruvate, we oxidize the carbons, and now they're being breathed out as those 2 CO2s. And so if you remember, in our summary equation, we only make 6 carbon dioxides total, and so we are only 4 carbon dioxides away from having glucose being completely oxidized. So if we have carbon dioxide here, we just need 4 more because we made 2. We need 4 more in order for this glucose to be completely oxidized. Okay, and then we'll take a second and look at the cellular map. So this is a cell, and then glycolysis is going to occur right here. So that glucose, we have our C6H12O6, and then we're going to break that into our pyruvate. Once we have our pyruvate, we're going to take it and put it inside of the mitochondria, inside of this mitochondrial matrix. And so our breakdown of pyruvate is going to occur right here. We're going to break the pyruvate into acetyl-CoA, and then we're going to do the citric acid cycle also inside of the mitochondria. So we're going to break that acetyl-CoA into a bunch of stuff. So let's go over that now. The citric acid cycle is where acetyl-CoA is oxidized into 2 CO2, so 1 carbon each. And it's going to happen through 8 chemical reactions. So, and then the citric acid cycle happens twice because we have 2 acetyl-CoA starting. So for each cycle of the citric acid cycle, we're going to immediately kick CoA off of it, leaving this, because it was a 3C, pause 1 second, I need to make sure that it was a 3C. My notebook fell on the floor. Okay, wait, never mind. Acetyl-CoA. Okay, wait, that makes sense. So, because pyruvate is 3C. If pyruvate is 3C, and then we get rid of 1C, so this is 1C, then this has to be 2C, because 3 minus 1 equals 2. Okay. So my bad. So we have this acetyl-CoA, we're gonna kick the CoA off. Now we just have 2 carbons. So those 2 carbons are gonna go into the citric acid cycle. These 8 chemical reactions, 1, 2, during number 3, we're gonna get carbon dioxide, and so we've oxidized it. Remember, oil rig, oxidation is loss. So by oxidizing and getting this CO2, we lost an electron, and then reduction is gain. This NAD plus is gonna gain that electron, and it's also gonna gain a little proton, which is that H. And so it gained an electron, it gained that little proton, and it gained a lot of potential energy. And so this molecule is a lot higher in potential energy than this molecule. So we lost an electron, we oxidized into CO2, and we gained an electron, and we reduced to get this NADH. So during the reaction number 4, the same thing happened. You can see that I circled the NADH, higher potential energy, that's what that stands for, potential energy. And then we took that electron from this CO2 and we added it into there. And then we got ADP, and it's gonna turn into ATP. Through the citric acid cycle, we're going to get 2 molecules of ATP total. So this whole cycle is going to happen twice, remember? So ATP, 1 ATP per cycle, 2 ATP total. So we're going to get the same thing happening with FAD. We're going to have a free electron that we took, reduce it. So this is gaining, because reduction is gain. So we gained an electron, we gained 2 protons. Same thing happened, oil rig, and then we're gonna have, it's gonna happen again. This whole thing is gonna happen twice, and we're gonna start oxidizing that second acetyl-CoA molecule. And it's gonna go back, and all of this is gonna happen again. And so all of these products are gonna be doubled. So we went in with 2 acetyl-CoA, we got 6, we put in 6 NAD+, so you can see 1, 2, 3. Since this cycle happened twice, 4, 5, 6, we got 6, and then 2 FAD, 2 ADP, so you can see 1, and then happened twice, so that too. And then 4 CO2. So guess what? We are done with our CO2 quota. We have 4 from here, we have 2 from here, and so it adds up to 6. And now we're done oxidizing glucose. We're done. And then, sorry, where was I? We have this 6 NADH that we got from the whole process. I forgot to circle one. 6 NADH, 2 FADH2, and then 2 ATP. And so since these molecules are so high in potential energy, we're gonna put them to use in the electron transport chain here in a second. So we're gonna put all of these molecules, all of these that we gained, and then this NADH also that we gained, and we're gonna put it right here, because we were right here, we're gonna put it right here in the intermembrane space. So that's where the ATC happens.